we see a fighter like Canelo and Caleb Plant last night, that was boxing at its highest.
What did you think of that fight?
On both levels. Well, like I said, what we witnessed was boxing at its highest level. You know, Caleb Plant came out there and his movement was absolutely phenomenal in the first, I would say, 6 rounds. And what we saw him doing was keeping Canelo at bay. And Canelo got a little aggressive, actually. Canelo got a little frustrated. You know, he had to work his way inside a little bit. Canelo was getting caught. His shoulder, Plant's shoulder roll, by the way,
Didn't look bad.
it didn't look too bad, and he was countering it really well.
Yeah, when he rolled it and threw the right
Yes,
hand
the
off
right
of it,
hand. It was
sharp.
just short, and
Yeah,
also
right inside.
and also his ability to, because Canelo likes to come with that looping hook. So his ability, he was just keeping that hand up and just blocking it every single time. Now, what happened was Canelo started to slow things down a little bit, right? Because there was a portion where he was getting frustrated. In my opinion, it was between the 5th, 6th, and 7th round. Canelo started to get frustrated, and then he started to slow things down and put the pressure on, but almost like not even do anything. Just put the pressure on Caleb, and Caleb was still moving really well in the 9th, which they actually gave Canelo the 9th round. I felt like
I didn't even look at the cards because I expected some bullshit. I'm gonna keep it. I'll keep it 100.
Yeah.
I usually don't. I usually watch fights with the sound off, but last night turned it on and I'm like, yo, the spin is in. They were telling me Canelo was winning the fight, and I'm like, Canelo's losing this fight.
Canelo's losing. You know,
Clearly
you
losing.
know, you said something and you touched on it perfectly. I was talking to my boy before the fight started, and he's like, "Yeah, you watch the fight tonight?" I'm like, "Yeah, bro." I'm like, "Yo, if you really want to watch the fight, if you really want to see how to become a better coach, you need to watch the fight with no sound, no bias, no commentary, no crowd going off based on just a jab.
Exactly.
You're just watching two fighters at the highest of competitive level. You understand? You're seeing every feint, you're seeing every step." You're seeing every
reaction.
And that's the way you become not only a better fighter, but you become a better coach. Because you're seeing things that a lot of people either are missing because they're hearing the crowd, or you're listening to the announcers break it down. You know what I mean? So there's just a lot of distractions. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But that was the way I watched it too. I'm like, no volume.
Yeah, none of that. I
played some music in the background, and that's when you really started to see Caleb's nice.
Yeah, the roll
counter. Roll counter, and he was ducking. He was actually ducking at the hip a lot, and I think that was messing up with Canelo. There was one
he gave up his height a bit too much.
Yeah, he was giving his height away too much because Canelo was the shorter fighter, and I felt like Plant did a good job of keeping the distance because he knew Canelo's a counterpuncher, so he's waiting. You know?
And he's a beast, bro. Those punches on his, he was hitting him on his arms. And I'm like, them shit's hurt.
He was hitting him on his arms because you notice that when you're in that Philly shell and your hands are low like that, you can't really hit to the body. But when you hit somebody in the arm like that, bro, it starts to mess with the circulation in your arms, and you start to drop your hands. If you look at Plant's stance and his hand position in the 8th, 9th, and 10th rounds, right? You know, even up to the 11th before he got knocked out, it started to change. He started to come forward a bit. Yeah. He started to drop it a little bit, right? So it was an amazing fight. But one thing I was telling my homegirl this the other day too, last night as well too, Canelo can be beat.
I think so too.
Canelo can be beat. Same with we saw it with Billy Joe Saunders. We saw it with Plant now. These guys are beating him on the cards. Yeah. It's like Canelo has this on switch where he's like, okay, I think I need to do something. Yeah. Gervonta Davis has the same thing as well too. In my opinion, Gervonta is not going to get beat by anybody.
But yeah, and Gervonta doesn't give up rounds the same way, I find.
No, but he did against he fought that really tall Mexican fighter.
Not the last one, Barrio?
No,
not Mario Barrio, was it?
Mario Barrio.
Oh, Mario Barrio.
And you know, he gave up a lot of rounds, which is why he had to knock him out in the 11th.
But Barrio took those. See, I see Canelo as giving away rounds.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Well said.
Whereas Gervonta lost those rounds.
He lost those rounds.
He lost those rounds
because he was looking. He was kind of
Homeboy. Yeah, exactly.
And Homeboy was just there. He was just pop, pop, pop. I always tell people, you know, and I know we're kind of getting off topic, but I always tell people like simplicity sometimes is key. Sometimes it's just pop shots. Sometimes it's just 1-2 step back, 1-2 slip, 1-2 right. Yeah. You know.
And just change your pace.
And just change your pace and just change your jab and don't get too caught up in the rhythm of everything. You know what I mean?